Hey,
Hi.
I wasn't sure if we were going to get it to connect. I was
Here we
like,
are. We did it.
yes, technology defeated again.
One
Just
more
kidding.
day. One more day.
Yeah. How's your week?
So that's good.
Yeah.
I think it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. 4th of July is always awesome.
What'd you guys do?
Oh, we just had a little fireworks show in the backyard.
Yeah.
Kind of fun.
We
Yeah.
pretty much
How
did the
about you
same
guys?
thing. We set some up in the neighborhood with
Yeah.
like a group of friends from the neighborhood. There's this cul-de-sac that hasn't been developed, but everything's building up
Oh,
really
sweet.
fast now. So I think this was our probably our last year using it, but we've shot off at this empty cul-de-sac for like the last 4 or 5 years. So I'm like,
Fun.
we went out on a bang though. We got really like big boys.
Oh, no pun intended.
Yeah. We
Yeah, the big dogs.
yeah. I went out to
Fun.
get the fireworks and I didn't even realize how big I went. Everybody was like, "Oh man, that was awesome." Like, because they were like, and I don't think I would have went quite that big. They were so loud and like they're probably what
For
they
being
set
in a
off.
neighborhood, it's like,
Yeah. I was like, whoa, those were like you could definite
yeah.
difference between. Yeah, anyway, so I brought like professional grade ones right into the neighborhood.
Nice.
But we were okay. Thankfully, we were super safe and only the dads set them off and we were all back by the cars watching, like, because
Because
try
that's how you
not
do
try
it.
not to do it stupidly because I don't know, something inevitably always goes wrong. I've already seen some videos from this year. It's like every year somebody's gonna have a fireworks mishap. Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know. Have you seen the video of the one? It looks like it could even be in Utah. I'll have to find it. I don't know why
Probably, but
like
I
it
haven't
made
seen the
me it
video.
made me think of Utah, but I don't even know why that was. But they were just setting them off in the road right in front of the house, and they were all sitting in chairs, and it looked like something like fired over underneath the truck and then started going off. It was like it was shooting off like fireworks and flames under the truck. And I
Great.
think everybody got away. I should hope so. I don't think they would just post it on the internet if they didn't, but
3 people were, critically injured.
yeah, I hope not. But I
I
was
don't know.
like,
I guess it's the internet. You never know.
yeah, but I bought really big fireworks. So then I was like, I don't know, just wanted to be responsible. And so we
Yeah,
made sure the kids stayed away, but it was a lot of fun. Anyways, it was a
that's
long
good.
answer for a little question.
4th of July is one of my favorites. I
Is
love
it?
it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Huh? Just you're like the third person to ask me this week. Just because I like food and sparkly things. I don't
Okay.
know.
Okay.
I just
Just
love it.
just the way it makes you feel.
Yeah.
I get that. I think
Yeah.
that's what holidays are to me now, since they don't hold like the Christian or the spiritual ones don't hold like a spirituality. They hold like
Yeah.
a feeling like a community and just like that we set aside time to spend time with each other and do something nice for each other, buy each other shit, you know, or set off
There you go.
fireworks and hang out together. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love I think like all the holidays more now because I don't know, I going all out for me, for no one else, just because
Well,
this is how I enjoy it.
I appreciate being with the people that I love and, making memories and doing fun things and
Yeah.
breaking the normal routine of every day.
Yeah.
And
Like I
yeah.
love when we let the kids stay out a little too late, or you know what I mean? Like we just don't, which happens all the time. And guess what?
Uh-huh.
Our kids are still both on the honor roll. And I mean,
It's gonna
or
be okay.
yeah, I'm like, despite, you know, not having a set bedtime or, any of those things, being allowed to kind of like live like they are their own little humans. We're here to
Yeah.
assist.
Yes. I think there's a lot of ways that will help in the future too. Like they will just, I don't know.
I hope
I'm not
so.
going to finish that thought. It's going to take like way longer than I thought to finish that thought. But yes, they will be able to decide for themselves what's healthy for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I'm
So
anyways, I'm going like on tangents and I'm like
I know, me too.
so
Like I could take this comment this far, but it's going to take us way out there.
Granted, I mean, I didn't come with any type of like real set, like regimented, this is how I want to talk about this. I just wanted to talk
Yeah.
about just the decision of Roe v. Wade. I'm not super
It's a big one.
educated. I'm not like, I don't feel like I have any of the information. So I was like, I just want to keep talking about it with people. Like I've been talking about it with a guy that I met at work, and he is actually, he falls on like the conservative side, but we have like the best conversations. And he even he said like the best thing to me. He said, you really made me think about some things. I was like, oh my God, like that's all I want, right?
That's
Like
the best you can hope for in a conversation where you have differing
exactly.
opinions.
Like, wow, you like, okay, you gave me something to think about instead of the normal where it's kind of like, well, we both agree to disagree, you know?
Right. And you both
So
leave feeling a little bit like,
yeah. So I just keep wanting to talk about it so I can kind of figure out my own thoughts on it. Like I have strong opinions, but I like I want to understand everybody's, because I think we're all
yeah.
like more aligned than we realize, but also like totally biased by our set of beliefs, whatever that may be. So I don't know. I just kind of want to talk about
Want to
it,
keep the
but
conversation going.
yeah. But I didn't come, like I said, with any type of like itinerary or things I wanted to talk about it. So anyways,
Well, I have kind of a different perspective than a lot of my family on it, because my family, um, immediate and extended, have all been on more of the conservative side, which is how I grew up. And um, currently, I still value all life. You know what I mean? That's a, um, I don't even know where to begin on this,
it's all right. You're
but
doing good. I mean, I
thanks.
totally agree. Like I'm in the same boat as you, I think. I haven't talked with a lot of my family on it, but I feel like um because of their religious beliefs, I feel like they're going to fall in. And I'm talking about my immediate family right now. I haven't talked to. I've actually talked to some extended family, which is funny because we don't normally talk. But she posts on Facebook and I comment, and we had some really great back and forth. We came to kind of like a stalemate where it was like I understand what her thing is with it, and
Mhm.
I like kind of stopped trying to like further the conversation until I feel like I can speak to what I know it is that her main concern is. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I'm and
Yeah.
her main concern is that she like I know that she believes it's murder. Like she 100% sees it as murder. And
Mhm.
that like that I think that comes from a moral perspective. That's coming from, you give value to things because of your moral code, I guess. You're deciding
Yeah.
when life starts or whatever. um but I don't know how to like speak to that in a way that I
Well,
think, I don't know, go ahead.
yeah. Well, when you grow up with a traditional Christian upbringing and your traditional Christian view of where do babies come from, right? And if you view little souls in heaven sitting on clouds waiting just to come down to you, and you picture, oh, you're pregnant and just kidding, and that kid no longer gets to come to earth, that's a harsh thing, man. That's hard. That's a hard thing to picture. And that's
Yeah, so if
you.
what you've decided happens before is reality, then
And
it's
to
murder, I
all we
guess.
have is our own perspective. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying this is my perspective. I'm just saying that
Oh, I understand.
um
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
In seeing their point
So
and understanding where they're coming from. And I
if you're
totally think you
advocating,
got it right on, perfect.
yeah, if you're advocating for these lives that no longer get a chance, I can see where people come from on that, and I can see why they'd feel strong, like
Yeah.
feel really strongly
Um,
about that. I feel strongly about a lot of things
and strong enough
like that.
that they would vote against their own interest in starting to overturn laws that protect their bodily autonomy and open up
Mhm.
the door for other people to have rights taken away
Well,
from them, essentially.
yeah, well, it's a lose-lose situation. Somebody has to lose, and it's just who are you seeing losing, the baby or the carrier, the mother?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
The
you're right. It is a lose-lose thing. But so I'm trying to speak to that, like,
Mhm.
that though, of thinking of them thinking of it as murder. And what I've been thinking about, like where my head's taking me, kind of goes back to when we were talking about like the past lives of kids.
Mhm.
You remember how like in all the stories that you talked about, like despite the fact like the kids, they had some sense of like how they were killed or something like that, but they weren't still that same person. All they had was like a shadow of it or something. Like
Yeah.
I remember I died here or I did this, but they were still a completely different person. And I mean, they didn't come with their personality, with their thoughts, with all those things, which, you know, like kind of validates,
Kind of
if you're
spoke
going
to you.
to believe that, well, validates that like all we are is our consciousness. And even if
Yeah.
an energy or something exists, like this particular consciousness, this particular life, this particular person that you are, like it only exists because your consciousness. And when does consciousness start? Because I don't remember being conscious in the womb. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying that there's no time when I'm not, I don't know. Anyways, that I have to make this point first. I have to finish this one. I was
Yeah.
gonna go off on like why I'm like, I don't think late term abortion is good, but I think I think
No.
ultimately it doesn't matter where I fall on what I would do personally. It just matters that all of us get to decide what we would do with our own body. And if
Yeah.
that inside of me, like I have a consciousness, I have like a life to make decisions about. And like nobody is going into abortion, I believe, and I have never heard any story to the contrary, where they're happily having abortions, where they're just, it is never an easy decision. It is always a difficult thing. And it should never be something that the public gets to like be part of just
Yeah.
because of their personal beliefs of what they believe about what's inside your body. So um they can believe that, and I totally like I'm forced to
Well,
respect it, but also it's like if that's the only argument you have, like can't you see how that is just morally based and not like you can't scientifically or give me any reason why that one should have more rights over the other. Like they're both human lives, so you don't get to decide which one has more value. But also when that other human life comes here to earth, you
mhm.
don't vote to uphold things that would keep them fed and sheltered and everybody's basic needs to be met. So
Yeah.
like how good is your love if it only brings them here to suffer? A lot of kids literally say things like they don't even want to be born. They mean that because it's not like the world is easy for them. Not that it's supposed to be easy, but it shouldn't feel like an attack, and like whatever you are is somehow attacked. Just let people be, you know? I feel like I
Yeah.
didn't give you like any opportunity and I went really far there. So what do you got to
No,
say?
you are just fine. I don't think you took too far.
Okay.
No, the only thought I have on that is my personal experience,
Okay.
because that's all I feel like I can speak for.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I'm a super personal person. Like I don't share a lot of things. I probably share a lot to you because
Yeah.
we talk a lot.
You
But in
keep your
general, I don't.
issues more to yourself versus like
Yeah.
putting them out there.
But
Yeah.
but this whole issue has brought some things to the surface. And several years ago, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully this won't sound overly dramatic or anything, but if it does, I don't know,
I'll start the music
go
here. Dun, dun, dun,
do
dun,
like
dun.
no, for reals. Okay. So several years ago, many years ago,
Okay.
um, I don't know, I'm a generally happy person. Life
Hmm.
is usually generally good,
Yeah.
but I was going through a super, super hard time, like a really
I
hard time.
I know. I remember you going through some hard times.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Um, it was dark, and there was a lot of choices being made that affected me that I had no control over,
Hmm.
and things were just really hard.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Say I knew
I
it's
don't. I
making
don't
you
want to
emotional. It's
cry. Yes, I never
no,
cry.
there's nothing wrong with crying. Like it's a really healthy part of like expressing emotion.
Yeah, except when you can't talk when you do it and you're like, oh.
I know, but
Anyway.
I mean, trust me, I've talked through it so many times. Like, I've accepted crying. Like, the state of our world, I've accepted I'm gonna cry sometimes. I see stories every day that make me cry.
Great, let's cry. No, anyways, back to story. Anyway, it was really hard. And at the very worst time, I found out I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And gosh, I remember just thinking, how on earth can I bring a kid into this right now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I can barely keep myself going, and I've got 4 little kids and I'm trying to keep going at the same time.
Yeah.
That was really hard. And I put a lot of thought into it, and I don't think there was ever really a thought that I was going to have an abortion.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking at that exact moment that if I thought for a second that that choice wasn't mine, that it belonged to somebody else, that somebody was telling me, no, you have to, you know, this is out of your control, there is a very high likelihood that I wouldn't be here right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, the ability to choose what happens to you and your own body and what you're able to do and what you are mentally and physically able to do and offer to a child, and you can't take that away from people. You just can't.
No.
And it's not like it's, I don't know, I don't take it lightly at all.
Yeah.
I love life, and oh my gosh, I love the little kid that I brought into this world.
You can't help but love the little kid that comes into this world.
Oh man, he saved my life.
Yeah. So imagine also this brings me on to a thought of like people saying just put it up for adoption. Like you
Great, if that's your choice.
If that's your choice, but yeah, like there are so many people in so many shitty situations, and bringing a child into this world when you can't ensure they will have a good life, I think is immoral. And putting them up for adoption does not ensure they will have a good life. A lot of people get adopted and have great stories. A lot of people get adopted and have bad stories. If there is even a fucking fraction of a chance that my child that I birthed, that I can't help but love, would be anything less than, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't live with that. You know what I mean? So like, adoption is such a hard thing. I don't think I could ever do it. Giving up my kid. So it's kind of like, I haven't even been in that situation and I can't even fathom it. You know what I mean? Yet some women are being mandated. You know what I mean? Like, one thing that I think is really good about me talking to this guy at work is because he's thinking about it completely different. He keeps coming back to whether or not this should have ever been the Supreme Court's right in the first place. Like, they overstepped their bounds to do this, I think is the implication here. Like, they never should have been doing it in the first place. It always should have been in state rights. And I'm like, okay, but that's to do with like, I guess just with like the Constitution and taking and like breaking it apart and deciding what, you know what I mean? Like what we're going to believe from it, what we're not going to believe from it. And like, that's a really old document and there's a lot of value in it, but we've come a really long way and we know a lot better now. That was written by only men, and women's reproductive rights maybe weren't the top priority for them. So they didn't know they needed to include it, but they did need to include it. So whether or not this was over, like the Supreme Court never should have done it and it never should have been in their hands or not, is like a moot point, because that's just getting it back into the hands of people who can mandate it. They want to be able to mandate it because it fits their end goal, whether that's morally or for, keeping society going and with controlling, making sure we have workers and enough people in the working class because birth rates have declined so much. Like it does. I think I've gone
I
off.
don't.
Did you follow me at all?
No, yeah, I did, and I'm
Okay.
kind of conspiratorial minded as well. I'm like, why this law? Why right now? Like, this is such a polarizing topic that I
Uh-huh.
wonder if they're doing it over here so they can do something else over here without. I
Yeah,
mean, get
well,
people looking over
they
here so you
really
can do
much,
something
yeah,
over
pretty
here.
much
So it
have
just
us fighting like the conservatives versus the people who, I guess, liberals. Like I don't have anything that I like hold to. I don't have anything that like defines me. I just
nope.
like so I
I'm just me.
the only reason like I would say liberal is because I know I'm not conservative, but I guess so I'm whatever I am except for conservative essentially.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I yeah. I think um, liberal or conservative, we would all do better to let other people live their lives, and to if you feel that strongly about you know valuing life, go value the lives that you're in charge of. Go
Mhm.
go value the lives of the people around you. You
Yeah,
may not agree
value
with what
the
people are
lives
doing
of some of the children in your like surrounding
in
communities.
your
Find them,
community.
find them and make their lives a little better because there
You
are
may not you may not stop Susie Q from having an abortion, but you can go help the people around you.
yeah, and you really
And
shouldn't be trying to get Susie Q to not have an abortion because saving that life for it to just come here and be miserable is not a really good look either.
well,
Like take care
whether
of what
whether
we're
it's going
doing
to be
here. Huh?
whether it's going to be miserable or happy or adopted or not adopted or whatever, I think we all need to realize that we are not in charge of other people. I tell my kids
100%.
that all the time, all the
Yeah.
time. You may not agree with what they're saying. You may not, you know, you may be completely angry at what they're doing, but it's not your choice. It's not you.
Yeah.
You are not going to go to heaven, and God's not going to ask you what you did to stop her abortion. God's going to ask you how you managed your own life, if you believe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
If you believe that that's
probably
what's
if
going to
he
happen.
exists, he's gonna say, and how were you to your fellow man? And were you um loving in all things? And if you're voting against anybody's right, you're not loving anyone. We're all just here trying to live. And
Trying to make the best decisions we
yeah,
can.
just because you have a belief system that you've decided to believe, because it's fed to you as a kid, and then eventually you do have to decide to keep doing it. Um,
Yeah,
Great, good for you. Enjoy your religion. I would never want to take that from you because that's what you want. And I know how important it is to feel like you're in charge of your own life because that's all I want is to be in charge of my own life. So,
yep.
yeah.
And there will always be circumstances where you feel helpless sometimes and you don't have control. But
Mhm.
wherever possible, we need to allow people to make their own decisions, even if we don't agree with them. And I think where the big thing comes is just like what we always say and what we've said in many podcasts is you can make your own decisions as long as it's not hurting anybody.
Mhm.
And I think that's where the gray area comes. It's like,
Yeah,
well,
they to some, no matter
yeah,
what, you're hurting somebody. You're like, and so it doesn't matter if that somebody's coming into a bad situation. It doesn't matter what your situation is. They don't think there's any situation that constitutes that, but that just means they've never been in that situation. So they
and
don't
I think,
understand that everybody has a reason for everything they do, and it should be their own choice because you don't know their life. You only know what you believe you would do if you were in their position in their life, but you don't know it. So,
and I think things would be better served
mhm.
if you did just allow those affected to speak, because there's still a large uh, I don't know what to say there. There's still a lot of differing viewpoints
Yeah.
in the people who have had experiences with it. But you take the people who think they know and tell them, go sit on the sidelines for a minute, let the adults talk for a second.
Mhm.
Let's,
But then you're limiting free speech. That's what they
it's
argue.
true.
That's what they
You
argue at
are.
least. It's kind of
That's
like,
true.
so I get to say my two bits just the same as Joe Schmo, who has only ever watched one news source and believes everything they say wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter. We both get the same right to speak, and
that's true.
sometimes people having a
I shouldn't
platform
want to
like that.
limit people, but
No, but I get it. It's like your mind goes to try to find places to be able to like, oh, how can we do this better? Like, so there's this thing I keep seeing that like freaks me out because of like the reality that there are people that think like this person. I want to see if I can find a video real quick and share it. Because might be more effective to hear it from the source,
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. I may have even sent it to you, but I send you so many things because I'm always like, this would be a good podcast. This would be a good podcast topic.
And I love them.
Okay. So, you all right?
Yeah, just
Why I'm so upset about
okay. So I'm going to figure out again how it is that I do this. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So maybe I'm just going to tell you about it, and that was a waste of
okay.
time.
Nope, that
But
works.
so so it's this guy's podcast or something, and he's talking about how like he's like wants us to go back to like Handmaid Tale's time, and I've heard quite a few
Oh, yeah?
different like it seems like groups of guys saying things like that, and it's like I don't know, that seems really crazy, and it's like a lot of people can't believe that, right? But I keep seeing it and I keep seeing it, so I'm like, okay, a lot of people believe this. So I'm trying to get behind why would someone believe that? Why would they go there? And my best guess is that maybe they're looking back to a time when our society worked, and the last time when it seems to like have worked was when women were staying home and men were going to work, and it worked in a way, but the problem with that is that women didn't have rights, and people who wanted to live a lifestyle outside of that heteronormative life like were ousted, you know what I mean? Or if you weren't the right color, there were so many things that were still like just against people, but society, like the economy and stuff like that worked better. And I think that's because one person was supposed to like could stay home financially with one person working, and they could still live a good life, could still support children, could still go on vacations, like because the way that like the economy and everything worked back then, it really worked out. So it's like I imagine that in their head they need to go back to that in order to find like homeostasis. And I think that we're a little more alike than they realize. I just don't want to be the one staying home. I think it would be beneficial that if you had children, that yes, one person should be able to stay home. You should be able to like if you want us to have kids, we should be able to support a family with only one person working, because putting the kids in like just mass places without a lot of like care and stuff like that is,
Yeah.
it's not to say that that's bad in kids, but it's like even being able to afford to do that, or I don't know, it just seems that if we could get to a better place where like people had better minimum wages and everybody wasn't living paycheck to paycheck, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It wasn't necessary for both parents to work
Yeah,
all
yeah.
the
And
time
like,
to
and I feel like maybe they feel like going back to that justifies a lot of their beliefs that come from like a moral place because of their religion, and they think because we were more religious then we were more subservient to our husbands, when really like women just had drinking problems and had to do stuff, you know what I mean? Like we just want
found
to
other
be whatever
ways.
we want to be too. Yeah, like but it's scary to me to think that there are people out there who legitimately are thinking like, yeah, we need to take back some of women's rights. They have like kind of messed up things because they've fought for too many people's rights, I guess, and now it's not as good as it used to be. And I'm like, because it used to be really good for you because you're probably a straight white male. Because
Yeah.
everybody in power who was making the rules and thinking about what was important to everybody was a straight white male. Or maybe who knows whether they were straight, but they weren't fighting for the rights of
Rights
LGBTQ
of
or anything
women.
or rights women, because that wasn't really a thing at the time.
Well, and I think women have experienced enough rights and freedom and free thinking to It's like you can't shove them back in the box.
But
Doesn't work.
okay, but then it does, because did you look
Yeah.
at the thing I sent you from Iran in the 70s?
I don't remember seeing it.
Okay, so
Remind me.
I might have to send you a thing, but it's just a picture of like, or just go Google like Iran in, I think it's the 1970s, and you'll see that they dress very like, you could say even how somebody would dress today. Very,
Really?
yeah, very normal. And
And
then
they've
slowly but surely, yes, like their conservative parties and everything kind of like reinstated certain religious laws. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. I don't know exactly. All I know is that there was more freedom,
seem to have gone
and it
backwards.
can't exactly. So it can happen, and they are kind of a prime example of that. So like, I
We gotta
don't
be
want to be
careful.
so naive as to think that enough people think like me, because so that's why I feel like, oh, we got to keep talking. We got to figure out where is it that the great divide is happening, because like the people can't be fighting all the time. Like we we got a
We gotta
broken
find some
government
common ground,
not
and we
fucking
gotta.
working, and we have bigger things to deal with than like get off my rights and let's take care of making sure everybody's basic needs are met. Like I would love to be paying taxes that took care of like my fellow man and the things that build up community. I don't have a problem with paying taxes. I have a problem with my taxes going to fund things that I don't even like care about, and they go, I don't
Yeah.
know, the government essentially, where everybody in the government is paid, well, not in the like low, but like
All
politicians
the
are paid
higher
well.
ups. Yeah.
Ironically, the guy I was talking to at work, he actually was just telling me how he's new to this area and he was applying at the VA and then somewhere else, and he was offered so little, like 12 an hour, and he was like if we're talking about this whole $15 an hour, like why don't you start with your own people? So like even like government jobs at the bottom are like poverty wages, yet we have politicians making a lot and also accepting money from like anybody with special interest that wants them to vote in line with them. So they're just rich and happy up there. And like, why are we even fucking paying taxes for that? Like, I want it going into healthcare. I want it going into taking care of my fellow man. Like, that's what I want. And I don't have a problem paying taxes. We have other
Yeah.
countries that we could use as an example doing things like that. And I'm not to saying that those countries are perfect. I don't know all the problems that they face. I know that racism and homophobia and just everything is kind of,
There's always issues.
it's universal. There's always hate because everybody always thinks whatever they think is right. I think that man and a woman should be together. And why do you think that? Because that's what I was always told ever since the very beginning.
That
Yeah,
makes sense.
you were told that, but guess what? Some people feel different than that. And as long as
Yep.
they're not hurting anybody, leave them alone or go fuck yourself. How about both? Do both of those things.
If you're leaving people alone, you can, you know, you don't
Yeah.
have to go.
True. Uh,
But yeah, I think in general, our time is better spent if we focus on our own lives and stop.
yeah. But right now, like how you were saying, like let people speak for themselves. Like if we're not all speaking though, like I think silence is complacency. Silence is like an acceptance of what's going on. It's like, I think everything's working.
True.
I can't shut up because it's not working. And
Yeah.
silence implies I think it is, in my opinion. So I think it's
That's true.
everybody's job to keep talking about it and thinking about it and trying to figure out. I mean,
It can be.
obviously, I think I'm right. I would like to have more talks with conservatives to like just see if we can find a common ground, even if it's like I don't know, let the doctors decide it. I don't know. I'd never want to take it out of that woman's hands because you never know why it is, which is why it has to be between the doctor and the woman. Because you can't give it any like, you can't do it after this point. But I could also see it being like, which nobody does late term abortions at like really viable stages. I don't believe that's happening. I don't believe that people are out there killing 38-week babies. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's a regular occurrence. I think if it happens, then there's bad people who are doing it, but that's not the vast majority of people. And if it is, please fucking show me. We better stop them. That's fucking sick because those babies could be saved. And there are families that do want to adopt, but also adoption's super fucking expensive and not really accessible. And our foster care system sucks. And do we want to put kids into that? Because we already know how fucking bad it sucks. And how taken advantage of kids are, and just yeah.
I don't know. Sorry, I just got a text message on my phone as we were talking that my little sister had
No,
had her baby, and I'm
Aw,
excited for her.
yeah,
So
that's awesome. You didn't do
Yeah.
anything that you needed to say sorry for, though.
well, I think my face got one of those little like far away looks, like I wasn't paying attention for a second.
Oh, that's okay. I was like soapbox rambling, I think. So,
No, it's yeah, maybe we should spend some more time fixing the systems that help. Like if you want people to use adoption, or you want people to carry babies to full term, help them be able to afford it, help them be able to feel confident in where they're placing their baby, help them
yeah.
change
And
the
the fact
medical
that,
system where
yes,
you're not
that,
gonna have
yeah,
medical bills for years and years and years for bringing a baby into the world.
yeah, man,
It's
I
rough.
could. I'm like, I keep like having so many different thoughts that like I just interrupted myself. Like I was gonna say something and it was like, bleh, bleh. So I think I've pretty much touched on the things that I was thinking, though.
So no matter what side of the aisle you are on, go home and love your family and those around you, and try not to be too judgmental of those who are really going through hard times, because it's not always as cut and dried as oh, I just, woke up and wanted to have an abortion today.
Yeah. And
There's
if you,
there's a lot that goes into it.
yeah, if there's anybody that's watching this and you think that you have like a,
Something important to say
yeah,
on there.
on this that could be educational to me, or something that would help me to see anything different or whatever, please like put it in the comment, or even put your email address and we'll add you to the Zoom call and hear your side of it. Because how the fuck else are we gonna learn but by,
Yeah.
um I don't know.
Yeah, keep an open mind, and
Yeah.
I think we'd be happy to hear anybody.
Yeah. Or even if you're more extreme than me. Just kidding. JK. Maybe just kidding.
Oh, I
Well,
would.
I guess, yeah, I would think I would accept anybody's view. Uh, to at least hear it, because you put it out there, and then for me to know, wow, somebody thinks that. Is that a logical way of thinking? Are you okay?
Did somebody hurt you?
Yeah. Okay.
Oh man.
All right.
Well, I like the way you think. You're a good person,
Well,
and
thanks.
I
I
like
think
that
you're a
about
good
you.
person too. Thanks. Okay.
Anything else
Yeah.
you want to touch on? Are we
No.
we said it
No.
all? We said all
I
the
mean,
things.
and I may think of more things later, but right now I think I've exhausted my brain for a moment, maybe.
Well, and I'm
But
going to go take care of the little humans that I've brought into this world.
yes, me too.
They are
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. Bella goes to nationals next week. She's at an all-day practice right
Yay.
now. Yeah. Very
I'm so
excited.
excited for it. Where's it at?
South Carolina.
Woohoo.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll send my cheers along with her.
Yes. I'm sure I'll post pictures and stuff. It'll be fun. Anyways,
Do.
okay. I love you, Lilas,
Love you
and
too, Lilas. And I'll talk
talk
to you
to
next week
you.
and other times as well.
Yeah, whenever I talk to you. Okay, love you. Bye.
That's good. Love you. Bye.